So here's another example of working backward with a cylinder with some stuff given. So in this example, they give us the radius of the cylinder and the surface area of the cylinder, and they ask us to find the volume. So like in my previous video, if you watched that, what I started out was drawing the net. I unfolded this shape. So let's do that. Let's start with the lateral area, which is going to look like a rectangle. And then the bases are going to be circles. So I'll draw a circle here and another circle that's the exact same size. Okay. And then once I have this, I'm going to label what they tell me. So I know that the radius on this thing is 9. So let's write that in here. Like I said previously in the previous video, make sure you're pausing if you're taking notes on this and writing stuff down. Give yourself some time. Don't just, you could watch it through once and then go back and take notes and watch it a second time. But if you are taking notes, make sure you pause it and write this stuff down. So I'm going to label my radius. This is 9. And that's pretty much it. And they tell us what the entire surface area is. I could label this one as 9 as well. So the surface area is if I add up the area of all 3 of these pieces. Well, the problem is I know I really don't know anything on this rectangle right now. All I know is the radius on this circle. So let's start chipping away at it. I know I can find the area of this circle because they give me the radius, and the area formula for this circle is pi times the radius squared. So I'm going to say the area is pi times 9 squared, which would give us 81 pi. Since my answers in the problem are exact, I'm going to leave this as exact. So the area of this, I'll just write it in there, is 81 pi. Same thing here. So we have 2 of the 3 pieces. We're getting closer. We just need to figure out what the area of this piece is. So let's do this. I'm going to write something down. I'm going to write down the surface area formula. And I typically don't have a formula for this, so there are some formulas you can make. But really what I write is I write base area plus the base area plus the lateral area. So we know what the 2 base areas are, and we know what the surface area is. So let's fill some stuff in. We know this is 288 pi. And that's going to equal 81 pi plus 81 pi plus whatever that lateral area is. So we could actually figure out the lateral area fairly easily. We're going to subtract 81 pi from both sides. And we'll do that twice because we have 2 81 pi's. So let's bust out our calculator. We're going to say 288 minus 81, and then minus 81 again. So that's 126 pi for our lateral area. So this is good. Let's label this. We know this is going to be 126 pi for this area. Okay, but the problem is we don't know the width or the height of this rectangle, but we can figure it out. So let's do that. We know that this length on this rectangle is the circumference. This wraps around the circle. So if we know the circumference is pi times diameter, then that's pi times 18, which is 18 pi. So for the lateral area, this would be 18 pi times the height of that rectangle, which is the height of the prism, and that's going to equal 126 pi, because we know this area is 126 pi. So if we take this length, 18 pi, and multiply by the height, we'll get 126 pi. All right, so let's divide both sides by 18 pi. and that will give me the height of this prism. So 126 divided by 18, I should be able to do this without a calculator, but I don't want to make a mistake. So I get 7. Okay, so my height of this cylinder is 7. All right, so what are we asking for? They want us to find the volume of this shape. So the volume, if you recall, I'll switch up colors so we kind of know we're transitioning here. The volume is the area of the base times the height. And we know the area of the base, that's 81 pi. And we just figured out the height, that's 7. So if we take 81 times 7 times 81, we get 567. So my volume on this thing is 567 pi inches cubed. That would be our exact volume. All right, so there was a lot of steps that happened. Just kind of summarize again, what we did was the first thing we did was we drew the net. So we drew that out, we labeled what was given to us, and then we found out the area of the circle. So we kind of used what was given to us to find the area of both of these. And then I wrote down this formula, the surface area formula, and I plugged stuff in. I solved for the lateral area, and then I looked at the lateral area and realized it was the circumference times the height. So then I solved for the height. And once I got the height, I plugged it in to the volume formula and got my answer. So that's another example of working backward with a cylinder.